Southside's story begins in 1981, when four families, the Lazarskis, Emersons, McIlroys, and Sutherlands, felt a shared call from God to plant a church in Milton, Ontario. With support from the Central Canadian District of the Christian and Missionary Alliance, they began gathering at Sam Sherritt Middle School, setting up and tearing down week after week in a school gym. And there, in the ordinary work of folding chairs and carrying sound gear, a value took root that still defines Southside today: belonging. The earliest motto said it simply: "You're only a stranger once at Alliance." From the beginning, this wasn't meant to be a place where people perform religious life. It was meant to be a place where people are known, welcomed, and invited to explore faith with honesty. Those early years were small, but they mattered. The church gained charitable status in 1982, and unity was forged through sacrifice, because portable church was a way of doing that. When everyone carries chairs together, they don't just build a Sunday service, they build a family. Then, in 1984, Southside entered a season of clearer vision and rapid growth. Attendance expanded, but what stands out even more is how the church's values sharpened. This wasn't only about getting bigger, it was about being a faithful presence in Milton and a people committed to mission, locally and globally. And here's one of the defining turns in the story. In the late 80s, as dreams of property and land began to rise, leadership made a costly choice. Instead of pouring everything into a building plan first, they chose to invest in youth, hiring a youth pastor as the second major staff role. It was the kind of decision that says, we'll choose people over comfort. We'll spend on the next generation. We'll absorb pain now to build future fruit. In 1989, the church purchased 4 acres on Derry Road. Another step of faith, measured in acres and prayers. And by 1990, after a massive volunteer effort, Southside dedicated the building, built with sweat, unity, and a shared sense of purpose. This season carried a planning for impact DNA. Not just what we can do now, but what God might do long after we're gone. The early 90s were years of momentum. Attendance rose, and by 1992, the church saw major growth, not only in Sunday gatherings, but in youth ministry as well. But the priority wasn't only numerical. The vision leaned toward discipleship and formation, language like mending broken people and unleashing mended people. Southside wanted to be a place where people weren't just inspired, but actually shaped into followers of Jesus. Then came a harder chapter, the mid-90s. Spiritual conflict in the broader church environment, internal disunity, and leadership transitions brought instability. Attendance declined. Trust was strained. The church learned a painful lesson. The life of a congregation can be deeply impacted when leadership unity breaks down. But Southside did not disappear. The church endured. And endurance is its own kind of value. Sometimes faithfulness looks like growth. Sometimes it looks like surviving, staying present, and choosing not to quit. In the late 90s and into the 2000s, Southside entered rebuilding seasons, regaining traction through ministries and programs that reconnected the church with real people and real needs in Milton. Outreach initiatives and community connection became important again. Small groups, relational discipleship, and steady pastoral care helped stabilize the church after years of turbulence. Then, in 2000, the church faced a major identity conversation. How do we carry our heritage faithfully while also becoming accessible in a changing culture? This was the era when the name Southside Community Church became central, signaling a desire to be understood not only as a denominational outpost, but as a church for the community. The goal was to be a neighbor, not a closed club. As the years progressed, Southside continued to build. Staffing grew in strategic ways, community life strengthened, and the church kept returning to core convictions: mission, belonging, and developing people. A major turning point arrived in 2011, when a renewed season of leadership and spiritual vision, bringing God's future into our present. This wasn't just a phrase. It shaped the church's imagination. The kingdom of God wasn't only a distant hope, it was something Southside wanted to embody here and now in Milton through missional life, discipleship, and presence. And that vision eventually led to one of the boldest moves in the church's history, the relocation to Main Street in 2018. Southside left Derry Road and moved into the heart of the city, choosing visibility, proximity, and what you might call incarnation presence, being with the community, not removed from it. The move required sacrifice and brought challenges. Attendance shifted. The change was costly, but the deeper conviction remained. We are here to be light and presence in the middle of Milton. Then, just as the church was setting into a new rhythm, the world changed. COVID brought disruption, exhaustion, and disconnection. Like many communities, Southside felt the strain. Relationships frayed. Momentum slowed, and at points, attendance dropped dramatically. It was a low season that tested faith and resilience. But the story didn't end in loss. Coming out of that disruption, Southside entered a revitalization season, marked by renewed hunger for community, discipleship, and real spiritual life. The language became more relational again. Open tables, open doors, people reconnecting, people being baptized, people stepping in community, and the sense that God was doing something fresh. By 2023 and 24, another significant transition took shape as new leadership stepped into the lead pastor role, and the church began emphasizing deep formation, discipleship through spiritual practice, building a rule of life, and shaping a community that doesn't just gather, but becomes a people who live with Jesus at the center. Over the last 3 years, that same story has become tangible again in fresh, sometimes surprising ways. We are celebrating 30-plus baptisms, watching a brand new Friday night youth program take shape, and seeing Youth at Maine become a real community, not just an event led by the next generation, which has quickly become the now generation. On Sunday mornings, a burgeoning kids ministry has been growing so quickly that we've had to add a second service simply because we hit fire code capacity. It's beautiful and messy, complicated and simple, challenging and so exciting as more people find a place to belong and a way to follow Jesus in real life. It hasn't only been inside the service. Midweek communities have multiplied again. Alpha has reopened the door for honest conversations and new faith alongside marriage course and Sunday classes that are rebuilding formation pathways for every stage of life. Even our community closet has been refreshed. New times, new rhythms, a renewed welcome, drawing hundreds of guests for clothes and food, and then drawing many of them back because they found something deeper: family. Across it all, we're seeing young leaders developed, empowered, and equipped to use their gifts to serve, and a growing young adults community passionate about relational discipleship and teaching their peers with the good news about Jesus. And we haven't chased diversity as a target because people are not token assets, but as we've lowered barriers, empowered all people, and aimed higher at the goal of love, God has brought together women and men from many backgrounds and cultures, finding a home, a hub, and a family, and being equipped to follow Jesus and to go on mission together. Southside's story is not a straight line of success. It's a story of sacrificial faith, belonging, mission, youth investment, resilience through crisis, and a growing conviction that the kingdom of God is not just something we talk about on Sunday, it's something we practice together in the middle of our city. And as we step into this new adventure, one more chapter in a long line of generations of adventure, our purpose is becoming clearer. Southside is a hub for spiritual formation, a home for belonging, and a launch pad for creative mission in Milton and beyond. What we need to do is willfully choose, like all those who have gone before us, to be with Jesus in order to become like Jesus, so that we too could do what Jesus would do if he were here amongst us, and he is.